Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
Glad to be here for this one.
Yeah, so imagine for a second that you're sprinting at full speed. Your lungs are burning, you dive, you ground the ball for just the most crucial try of the match.
Oh, the adrenaline is just peaking.
Exactly. But then, literally milliseconds later, a massive collision completely derails your season.
It's brutal. Just a complete swing in momentum.
Right, that split-second swing from absolute triumph to, well, devastating physical fallout is exactly what we're unpacking today.
Yeah, we're looking at that wild United Rugby Championship clash at Brewery Field, right? Between the Sharks and the Ospreys.
That's the one. And look, there's definitely some tough news to get through today, but I promise you there is also an incredibly bright 18-year-old future to discuss.
Oh, absolutely. The resilience on display in the sport right now is just, it's phenomenal.
It really is. We are keeping the vibe highly positive today. But before we get into the weeds of the tactics, make sure you subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter.
You're going to want to stick around for this breakdown for sure.
So I want to ask you, the listener, a question. When you're watching rugby, what do you actually value more? Is it the grueling, physical contests? Or is it those flashes of young breakout brilliance?
That's a great question, actually, because the single match really encapsulates both of those extremes.
It really does. It had everything.
I mean, you get the brilliant tries, the emerging prodigies, and then on the flip side, the season-altering injuries. It's the ultimate high-stakes environment.
So let's dive straight into that pivotal moment right before the half. The Sharks were trailing, right?
Yeah, they were down, and they desperately needed something.
And their 23-year-old Springbok star, Ethan Hooker, he delivers. He scores this crucial try, narrows the gap to 14-12.
But it's not the try that everyone is talking about. It's what happened immediately after.
Right, the incident. So after the try is scored, Ospreys speedster Luke Morgan just dives on Hooker.
Yeah, he dives right onto him, and Hooker immediately clutches his shoulder.
It looks so painful.
It was a severe shoulder dislocation. And unfortunately, that likely ends his URC season.
Wow. And that threatens his Springboks test campaign too, doesn't it?
It definitely does. It's a massive blow. And just to report impartially on the fallout here, social media was instantly calling that dive a dog shot.
Yeah, people were furious online.
And JP Pietersen, the Sharks head coach, he heavily criticized the lack of player protection. His quote was, let me make sure I have it right. He said, "After scoring a try, the rules say you are not supposed to dive on a player, and rules are there to protect players, and sadly, that did not happen."
Which, it makes sense why they're upset. To me, it's like tackling a runner who has already crossed the finish line. The play is over.
Right. The objective is complete.
But let me push back on that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
In a high-speed, high-adrenaline game, how difficult is it for a defending player to actually stop their momentum in that split second versus it being, a purely avoidable late hit?
Yeah. Well, the physics of it are terrifying. You have guys moving at 8 to 10 meters per second. If Morgan commits to the tackle while Hooker is still airborne, the momentum just carries him through.
So it's basically a projectile situation at that point.
Exactly. Officials have to judge if he intentionally dropped his shoulder or if he just couldn't hit the brakes fast enough. It's a nearly impossible call in real time.
And we aren't taking sides on the intent here, but the reality is Hooker was out. And the Sharks really struggled in the second half without him.
They did. They ended up losing 21-17, which, man, that effectively ends their season hopes.
Yeah, it hurts. And Pietersen's post-match analysis of that second half was really interesting.
He pointed out that they dominated territory, right? They had the possession.
Oh, totally. They were getting deep into the Ospreys' come-to over and over again. But Pietersen said they just lacked clinical ruthlessness.
And when you lack that ruthlessness in the 22, it creates so much pressure on yourselves.
Right, because you do all that work to get there, and then you come away with 0 points. You start forcing offloads, making unforced errors.
And that just lets the Ospreys entirely off the hook. Now the Sharks are, 11 points behind the 8th place Bulls?
Yeah, with only 3 matches remaining. It's a really tough spot.
It is.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter. And drop a comment letting us know how you feel the Sharks should rebuild for the 2026-27 campaign.
Definitely want to hear some thoughts on that rebuild, especially considering the massive silver lining from this match.
Yes. Let's talk about the positives. Because despite the loss, we saw the debut of 18-year-old fullback Zekhethelo Siyaya.
What a debut it was. Pietersen's review of him was just glowing.
He said Siyaya didn't even look like a kid out there, right?
Exactly. He praised his mature head, and talked about the freedom and exuberance he played with.
Which is crazy for an 18-year-old. I mean, playing fullback in a high-pressure physical away game, that's a huge indicator for the Sharks' future.
Oh, it's a massive positive. Blooding a kid in that kind of environment and having him actually perform with confidence, that shows your developmental pipeline is incredibly strong, even in a lost season.
Yeah, it bridges the gap to the next couple of years. But, zooming out from the Sharks for a minute, we got to talk about the bigger picture for the Boks.
Right, because losing Hooker is a significant blow to South African rugby.
It really is. His trajectory has just been meteoric lately.
He just won big at the SA Rugby Awards in Cape Town, didn't he?
He did. He was sharing the stage with guys like Malcolm Marx and Rassie Erasmus. That's elite company.
And he's been so open about playing this sort of hybrid role, which is fascinating.
Yeah, a forward playing in the backs, it completely changes the defensive geometry for the opposing team.
It's a nightmare to defend against. You have this massive, powerful guy in the midfield who also has the pace and handling of a back.
So to lose that weapon right before a test campaign is brutal. Which brings me to a question. When a young player like Hooker is on such a meteoric rise-winning awards and adapting to new hybrid roles, how does an abrupt, controversial injury like this test their mental resilience heading into a test campaign?
That is the unseen battle right there. The physical rehab is one thing, but sitting on the sidelines, watching your team play without you, that psychological hurdle is immense.
It takes so much mental toughness to channel that frustration into, daily rehab.
It really does. It dictates the kind of player he'll be when he finally comes back.
Absolutely. Now, there was one other subplot swirling around this match that we should briefly touch on.
Right. The cheating accusations against the Ospreys.
Yeah, again, keeping this strictly neutral, just reporting what the community is saying. There were reports that Sharks stars were denied a fair contest because of possible fake injuries.
Right. The narrative is that the Ospreys were using medical stoppages to break the Sharks' attacking momentum.
Which, if you're building pressure in the 22, a 60-second pause completely drains that momentum. The defense catches their breath, and the wall is rebuilt.
But the counter to that is that player safety has to come first. Referees aren't doctors. If a guy goes down, they have to stop play. It's an incredibly tricky gray area for the sport.
It's a tough spot for everyone involved, for sure. So to kind of recap this whole deep dive.
It was a jam-packed match, honestly.
It really was. We had a tough 21-17 loss for the Sharks. We had that incredibly frustrating injury for a rising Springbok star in Ethan Hooker.
But we also had that super exciting debut from an 18-year-old prodigy.
Exactly. Siyaya promises some really great things for the 2026-27 season. So before we sign off, do you have a final thought to leave the listener with?
Yeah, I do. It's something to ponder regarding that injury. If rugby's rules explicitly exist to protect players in the act of scoring, but post-try DOGSHOT still occur, does the sport need to fundamentally reevaluate how it enforces post-play penalties to genuinely change player behavior?
Man, that is a fantastic question. We would love to hear your take on that. Please drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments regarding the rule protections and, of course, the Sharks' future.
We read all the comments, so definitely let us know what you think.
And remember to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.